current climate in this city is just getting worse and worse.
Obviously, you're saying it's getting worse and worse. Like, you're saying it's on a decline at the moment.
There's lots more targeting by the police, lots more targeting by security guards, like kind of making people uncomfortable. So like we've had our run-ins with a few things recently that's like kind of with questioning, just being like, what's going on? But like more and more of this is happening where we're just like, fuck,
Like to other people, that you know and stuff.
Yeah. Like I've heard of other brands that have been targeted with such situations, and you know, like the police are even going to some of our workplaces and saying, don't work with these crews. We're in the middle of it right now. Like it's just like, that's where like I want to start a union, if we can all like join together and like actually show the council, the government, the police of like how uncultural they are. And like we are very cultural, and we shouldn't be, you know, stereotypically judged where if you listen to techno then it's just rowdy and like violence and all this stuff. So yeah, that's where we're just like, no, we kind of have to like show them that it's not, and educate them instead of them educating us, you know?
Yeah. If there's anyone that knows how to run an underground house and techno event, it's the guest joining me on today's episode. Raw and AllFriends have both seen major success and continue to contribute to the growth of the Sydney dance and rave scene. The events capture everything that a rave should be, with world-class sound systems and lineups, as well as hosting events in basements, warehouses, and regular events at Sydney's Abercrombie. The two brands continue to push the limits and consistently put on events that leave goers satisfied but wanting more and asking what's next. The man behind all of this, however, is none other than Justin Muscat, who's joining me today. Thanks for coming on the show.
Absolute pleasure to be here.
Hopefully that intro was okay.
Yeah, I loved it. Absolutely. Loved it.
So, as I said, you run obviously Raw and AllFriends is what you sort of started, and you told me before as well, just before we started, that you've been running AllFriends since 2014.
That's correct, yeah.
So nearly a decade. And we were saying that it's very rare that you see a collective sort of last that long.
Exactly.
Unless there's some sort of thing. So like right off the bat, what's been like the key to success for keeping it running for nearly a decade now?
Man, it's just keeping persistent, I suppose. Yeah, it's been a rocky road for sure. Obviously everyone knows about lockouts, COVID. Even when we had like, you know, floodings and fires and all that as well, like there was just lots of action and hard to come back, and like everyone's sort of focused on, you know, just getting through their lives sort of thing. So yeah, it's been persistence for sure, coming up with new and exciting ideas, I suppose. Yeah. Okay,
well then I guess in that case, to sort of take us back to that like initial, like when it started with AllFriends, like what was like the motivation and like what made you want to get into that? Start AllFriends.
I was living in Sydney for about a year, and I joined up with two electronic brands, and basically it got to that stage where, you know, they just started like having a bit of beef with each other. And I was just like, what's going on, lads? Like I was sort of that middleman in between both of the brands, and it just kept happening. And I was just like, you know, why can't you just all be mates? Like what's going on?
Yeah.
And that just kept happening. So like I was just like, you know what, I'm just going to start my own thing. And it came from that I just wanted everyone just to be mates with each other. Like there was so much rivalry and beef around town. I was like, this is not the music industry. So AllFriends came about, and yeah, like it really gave me a lot of excitement to start my own thing, because I've been running events before that down the South Coast on my own.
Right. Okay.
But I didn't bring a new brand to Sydney yet, so I was thinking like I might as well start something fresh here. The South Coast brand had its own sort of like name for itself down there, but we're still running stuff up here. But it just started getting confusing, you know, between South Coast and Sydney, back and forth. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's how AllFriends started, and yeah, we had our first event on September 2014, and funny enough, we couldn't do it.
Oh, really?
Because on the day, the actual venue had a water leak. And we were just thinking, like, we have put our like heart and soul into this. Like, here we go, AllFriends, it's ready to go. And it just so happened to be like the club had a water leak, and we're just like, oh, we can't do it. So, but we got the call up from Club 77 to do it the next week, and it was the best turnaround ever, because like down in 77, before it was renovated, it was like very like grungy sort of vibe, you know. And yeah, we packed out the place and just thinking like, can't wait to do this again, you know.
Yeah, and I guess the name AllFriends sort of comes from that, like, interaction you had with them, sort
Exactly,
of like wanting
yeah.
everyone to be friends.
Yeah,
That's a good name as well.
yeah. Thanks, man. Yeah. People get around it. I love it.
Yeah, that's a cool name. And sort of like, yeah, so the first event was in Club 77, and then that packed out, and then what was the one after that? Was it sort of, did you wait a while for the next one, or was it like...
Nah, like we got a call back from 77 to come back. I think that was like a month after, and funny enough, that was like the peak of like the initial part of the lockout laws, and we had, I think it was like Channel 7 or Channel 9 News come down with their cameras just to film, like, you know, like the nightlife scenes. So they chose us to come down, and I just remember it being pretty funny that we were just like, you know, partying with them sort of thing. And they
Channel 7?
Yeah.
Oh.
yeah. Like they came down with their full like camera crew, and like, you know, they were interviewing us. It's like, what do you think of the scene? And we're just like we love it and all that sort of stuff. And like look around, like everyone's so happy. So yeah, we kind of had that for like our, you know, third party promo as well, you know,
With Channel 7.
Yeah,
Free
yeah.
live TV.
Yeah.
That's cool. So then, like, were you running it by yourself at that stage?
Yes.
Oh, you
yeah,
were by
yeah.
yourself?
Yeah,
And,
yeah,
like, you
yeah.
had a team
I
around
was,
you?
yeah. I did have the idea to join up with a few mates, and then again there was just like a bit of beef between them, and I was just like, I'm just like, me being me, like I'm a jolly person, I just want everyone to have a good time. So I'm just like, I'm just gonna do this by myself, and like hopefully the challenges that come with it don't hit me too hard. And it's been a good journey. It's been hard, but it's been a good journey. Yeah.
What do you reckon's what do you reckon that contributed to like that beef? Like, what do you think? Why do you think people were acting that way?
Oh man, I think that was like when I started realizing that, you know, people started having maybe like a little bit of a head on them, like they wanted to be better than the other. And I don't know, I just didn't see much of a community vibe back then. Now there's just like the best community ever. Like it's insane, like how good our local community is. But I just didn't see it much back then. Like it was just, you know, who does this better than whoever else. Like, yeah, but I wasn't for that. Yeah.
Do you think that's because there wasn't as many back then as there are now, so it was a lot harder to sort of break through?
I couldn't tell you. I really couldn't. I think it was getting into that stage where, you know, like nightlife and DJing and all that sort of stuff was getting pretty big, even though like it wasn't like, you know, a lot of people that did it, like you still had like a bunch of crews and all that sort of stuff, compared to now, like everyone's all for it. But yeah, I don't know what that mentality was. Like maybe I was just around the wrong people at the time. Yeah, but I like going down my own route, like, and just being like, yeah, we're cool, let's have fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's the best way to do it, though. Like if you're just angry at everyone, you probably won't succeed, and then you just won't enjoy it as well.
Exactly.
Like, when did you sort of see that mentality shift though, to become more like supportive and more like, you know, more of a community from that initial like very like aggressive, I guess, scene?
I would say when I started like getting more involved in the more foreign crew, I was mostly working with, you know, locals and people from the country, and yeah, like we had the best times, don't get me wrong, but there was a lot of, like what I was saying before, but moving into like more of a foreign crowd, I just started loving the fact that Europeans, you know, Colombians, Brazilians were just like having the most fun ever, and I loved it. I was like instantly hooked, and I was like, I'm all for it. And I started like joining up with like Brazilian crews and all this sort of stuff, and we were just like having, you know, 10 times more fun after that. And yeah, I'm glad that sort of like old mentality's gone now, but yeah, it just definitely took like a couple of years to start like migrating away from it and just joining up with just purely fun people in it for the right reason. Music heads, appreciate what they're listening to, appreciate the people they're around, and hosting these sort of events. So yeah.
Were you running events with like a more foreign crew, or you just hanging out with, like,
we're doing that too as well. Like we joined up with one, for example, would be 43 Degrees. We did a party at Civic Underground called it Under the Sea. but it was actually under the sea theme.
Oh,
as
okay.
well. Yeah.
A bit of playing
Under the
words.
sea, the letter C. Yeah. They're a Brazilian crew, and yeah, forever love for them. Like always, got something nice to say.
Are they still around?
I think they're doing little bits every now and then. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, because as you said, it's very not all the time you see like a collective last for so long, especially like through all the shit's happened, like lockouts, COVID. I guess because you said you started AllFriends like just as lockout was sort of rolling through.
Yes, like just as it started.
Would you say that was how was that though? Like going through that lockout, because like you didn't really have to adapt to anything because you weren't really like going into it. You weren't going from like an old to a new, sort of just going into what the future was. I guess that stage.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
do you reckon it was easier to adapt to that?
I didn't mind it at all. Like, I obviously shit that I was there, but I just didn't listen to it. Like, obviously, like had to adapt to like the whole what was it, like 3 o'clock closure? I think it was, and people were not allowed in after 1 a.m. But I didn't mind. I was just like trying just to tell people to come before 1. You want to anyways, because there's only a few hours left, a couple hours left, whatever. Yeah, but it was obviously shit. I think more so the media fucked it up hard, because like there was just so much shit talk about it, and eventually people from interstate, international started hearing about it, and it's just like, oh, that city's shit, like I'm not going there, sort of thing. But I think that's where the media definitely took over and made it so we look bad, rather than like, you just need to know what's happening, because like there's so many cool things happening like here constantly. But obviously you need to be around and know the crews, and there's different ticketing platforms, etc. So I think that's a good point though, like how the media sort of portrayed lockout laws as this like thing that's like so like demonic. But like in reality, like as you said, if you know the right people, then it's did you see that like the media portrayed yours, because you obviously said they came to your like events and like filmed you and stuff. Did you see that they sort of like, did they do anything to your like manipulate your story, or whatever you gave to them? Nah. They just wanted to like, I think they just did a new skit where like they just wanted to get some footage of the nightlife while saying lockout laws are in place, sort of thing, and it's just got AllFriends in the background.
Free promo.
Yeah, exactly.
Did the events from AllFriends start as like techno, and because there's it's like site trance and like
it's been a mix over the years, to be honest. Like like whatever like I was into at the time, like I just wanted, that's how I've gone about my events, to be honest. Like whatever I like, I want to really push it, because it really gives me extra urge to put more effort into it. Man, it's been a massive mix. Like we did UK baseline, we did our house, we did our techno, what else, UK garage, little spits of like D&B, like it's just whatever. Like it was just all about having fun with it. There was no specific sound, sort of thing.
Right.
It worked.
So like, and now you're doing, I'm noticing is like a lot more like side trance parties.
Exactly. Yeah.
Is that sort of where you want to take the brand, or is that sort of just at the moment, as you said, like what you're enjoying? Yeah. And then maybe next year will just be like full hard techno, because that's what you're enjoying.
Well, like I love my Psy. I love my Psy. So like I think AllFriends will stick with that, when Raw would be like the techno sides.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm a lover of both sounds at the moment. Just absolutely all over it. But I think we're going to stick. We're definitely going to stick, and just moving. We kind of moved away from our last sound, and it just started getting confusing where we were at. And now, like, I'm just very happy with where it's at. Like, I'm working with my close friend Jitesh, and he's really brought it upon the brand that we can, do this. And people didn't really think that even myself, I didn't think that we could bring Psytrance to like a rooftop event down at the harbour, like at first I was just like, no, I don't want to do this, but then I was like, let's give it a shot, and it worked, and people getting around it, so I'm happy with it, he's happy with it, we'll stick with it.
Because you're doing another one, aren't you?
Coming up,
it's a massive one as well. I saw that, so like you've had already hosted one of those sort of events.
We did. It's probably our best party yet.
Oh really?
I'll be honest, like the vibe, the crowd, the music, the structure, like everything just went so smoothly. I couldn't be more stoked about it, and it got to that point where I just had to sit and watch and just be like, this is the best AllFriends event that's ever happened right now.
That's sick. That's so good. Maybe the next one might be even better.
Yeah.
Did you play that one?
I did.
You played yourself as well?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
we do a mix between like Sire and Forest and Dark Sire. So like that's more of like the, faster rolling sort of darker stuff, and then the Sire or like the daytime stuff would be like prog into like full on Sire. And yeah, so there's still subgenres within psytrance that we enjoy, and we'll still have that structure. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And then I guess you were talking on Raw and how that's more like the techno side. How did that sort of start? And what prompted you to sort of start a second collective already with AllFriends being like, succeeded?
Yeah. So AllFriends started having like, it wasn't like heaps happening, and like it was just like whatever events we were doing, like it was still like an all-rounder sort of sound sort of thing. So I wanted to start something that was purely just like straight techno stuff, and I just felt like I couldn't relate it with AllFriends because it's been everywhere throughout the years. So we just need to start something new, and got this opportunity to host an event at Standard on Oxford Street. So that's above Kinsella's. And as soon as I seen the venue, I was just like, look at this, like this is insane. And they approached me saying like, we would like to have you here, whatever you want to do, let us know. I was like, can I have a weekly? And they was like, yeah, you could. What do you want to do? I was like, I'd love to start a new techno weekly. Didn't know what's called at first. Raw came about because we just wanted to relate it with Oxford Street, and also the music, of course. Like it was going to be like more raw techno, but like still like a mix between the raw and the hard and the hypnotic stuff as well. But I was thinking like Oxford Street like has like a really cool raw vibe to it. So like we'll relate that in a way.
Yeah.
And then we kicked that off, and that was amazing. Like the first event was huge, absolutely huge.
When was that? What year?
That was last year.
Oh, so Raw's like really fresh.
It's a baby, man.
Shit, I thought it was like pre-COVID.
It's a baby.
No, far out. That's crazy because considering the names you've had at Raw so far, like is insane. Like you've had
a red hot crack.
Like so what last year? What month was it?
It was in February.
Oh wow, so it's like just past a year.
Early March, February, something like that. Yeah.
Who was that? Who did you like book anyone for that one, or was that sort of just like a local lineup?
We were supposed to have an event with Rebecca at the start of February, and that got cancelled because more restrictions came in with COVID. So we're just like, damn, we could have kicked off with a bang, And so we're pretty bummed about that. But the next ones it was just locals. Like we had, so I keep saying we, but like we definitely have like a nice structure to it where. How can I say it? Like people were just responding to like our marketing pretty well. Mm-hmm. I was just thinking like we could do this with locals. Like there's no really like weekly techno events here yet, so let's give it a crack where we can like hopefully pump it out. And the first one absolutely banging. It was massive. And then the second, third, it started going a little bit downhill just for the fact that the sound in our venue just wasn't cutting it. Like they had a credible sound system. They spent $500K on getting it shipped over here. And they showed me the capacity of the sound, and I was like, this is unreal. But we couldn't do it because they had restrictions in the area.
Oh
and
shit!
I was just thinking, like
what they had to like close it off at like shut the sound down at a certain time, like quiet it down.
Just in general, like up on the third level, they had sound restrictions with the local neighbours.
Oh, so they couldn't even use the sound system to like its full capacity.
Oh my god! What they have is like, it's amazing. Like it's quality. You can be anywhere in the room. It sounds like you're at the front pumping. But we gave it a crack. We were just like, let's just see how we go because we want to keep this venue. And they told us in a few months we'll have the restrictions lifted. We'll get this stupid green tick from the council saying we can do it. But yeah, that's when they were just like eventually, like we're going to have to do more stuff as well, where they had to like concrete the ceiling, all this stuff. And so we just started giving up because like our night started going downhill from like where it was at, and like it was really exciting where it was at before. So yeah, we kind of moved away from there, and yeah, that's where things started getting even more messy, to be honest.
What happened if you don't like if that's allowed to be said?
Yeah, they're all right. We went down to the basement in the same venue.
Yep.
worked out very well. And then just securities were being a little bit too strict on our crowd.
Oh wow.
And
okay.
so like people just started, I think people just were probably talking that, you know, like you can't get in, or like they're going to kick you out. Moved to a venue after that, and it started being a little bit weird, like with a couple of situations. So we're just like, oh, we just need to get somewhere where we want to feel at home and have the right space for our people, because like the people that come are like, you know, walks of all sorts, and I love that. Like I really want to bring different cultures together and to enjoy it, but I just don't want people to second look that as well. Like I just want the safe space and whatnot. So started just being a bit of a rocky road, but when we finally moved to, I think it was like Newtown and then to Abercrombie, I was just thinking like I just really want to put more effort into this, and like just like start maybe investing in it more, where we can get like proper insane artists and just give it to the people. You know, like here you go, here's these people here in Sydney and ready to thrash it.
How was that, like Abercrombie, like, because obviously you moved there. When did you move into that one?
That would have been late last year.
Late last year.
Yeah. And our first event was, which one was it? Couldn't have been the Charlie Sparks one. I think we did one before that.
Because I remember Charlie Sparks. Yeah, I had no idea that Raw was so young.
Yeah.
I thought it was way older than that. So I was like, Charlie Sparks, like, oh, you know, they've been around for a while. It's only right they have such a big name come in. But the fact that you're able to get someone like Charlie Sparks in so early, and then you've had other names. You've had is it Parfait or
Parfait? Yeah, we did a collab event with BPM.
Yeah.
Lakessi, Klar, Wonderlust. We've had Siga. Man, .dat. It's big names that have like come through, and we got like even bigger ones coming through towards the end of the year next year as well. But yeah, like that's what I'm saying. Like I just wanted to invest my time in it more, and I just started focusing on reaching out to agencies, saying that this is what we do here. We're dedicated to this sound. Would you like to have our artists, like your artists, play for us? Sort of thing. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and then so you found like your home at Abercrombie for the last like 6-7 months now. You've sort of been at home there.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and now you've told me that like it's just packed.
Yeah.
So what's like the next plans? Because obviously, if anyone's been keeping up with like your Instagram and Raw's Instagram, you've been like building out a warehouse.
Yeah.
Is that for your events that you're building it out for?
Bit of a mix. Like I run an AV company as well, so that's gonna be like a space for like showrooms and whatnot. So warehouses is definitely like the way to go. Yeah, I think for our crowd as well, they love it. You know, like they're getting over like the whole, you know, potentially getting kicked out sort of thing. They just want to have their freedom, have their fun. No issues caused ever. Like the first one that we did like in the warehouse space was just like I couldn't believe it. And
in your warehouse space?
Yeah. It was so good. It was so nice. It was like the most respectful and tidiest ravers as well. Like they were so tidy. Like we turned the lights on at the end. I was just looking around thinking like there's some tidy ravers, man. It's
no
like,
rubbish.
It's just like respected the place, you know. Like there was like stuff in the bins. Like there's still rubbish, but not heaps. You know, and as well, like I was thinking after a normal club night at the front, like there's just chaos. You know, like people just getting their Ubers, they're shouting, they're having conversations, and I didn't want that in the space. So as well, I was just like so worried. I was like, fuck, here we go. Like I'm gonna need to like control this chaos at the front. But 10 minutes after we closed, like I went outside, everyone's gone. I was just thinking like, this is amazing. Like
where's the warehouse?
It's in Marrickville.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Maybe everyone just lived close.
Yeah.
Just walked off.
I was thinking that, like the crowd like just walked home.
Yeah.
Nice and easy.
How long have you had that warehouse now for?
Oh man,
a month
and a half.
Okay, so it's pretty fresh.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then your first event in that one, when was the first event in that one?
That would have been probably a month ago. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Maybe a bit less actually, because like we got the space, we got the keys, and it took us like 2.5 weeks to actually
set it up,
do something about it. Yeah, soundproof it, make it look all nice and neat, build some walls.
And there's no like restrictions or anything for sound there?
Well, no, I don't think so. It's a street where like there's lots of other commercial warehouses.
Oh, it's like industrial.
And there's a warehouse across the road that have held events before as well. So like I think the street just knows that, you know, like these sort of things happen. But yeah, it's not like an event space. Like it's going to be an all-rounder that we can, I don't know, if someone wants to release a book, or, you know, they can have a book launch there, and we
sick.
can have meetings there and whatnot.
Yeah, okay. So it's so it's just like a creative space.
Exactly.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, I feel like you need one of those as well, especially like if you've been in the game for so long and you just want to sort of have a space.
Yeah.
Where you can just do everything, go in, do everything done, and then just go home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been a dream, man. Like I actually seen this post the other day, saying like you are where you wanted to be 5 years ago. And I was just thinking like, yeah, you're right. Like that first came to mind 5 years ago that I wanted to get a creative hub warehouse space. And it's finally come about. Yeah, I'm stoked.
Yeah. So like, yeah, you wanted to get that creative space and everything. Sort of take us back to like your initial like interactions with like techno and electronic music, because obviously you DJ as well. You play at events. You play your own events.
Yeah.
Take us back to like when you first sort of started, like before AllFriends and like way back.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I started when I was about 16. Actually, I was a little young pup. My brother and I bought some decks, and just like proper old school ones. You know, it cost $500 for the whole setup.
Oh wow!
And, yeah, and my dad's a entertainer, like a one-man band.
Oh, okay.
So he had speakers, he had all the amps and all that sort of stuff, so we could connect it all in and start practicing. But yeah, like so it just leaked that we got decks and we were getting into DJing, and within the first 2 weeks we had a gig together at the it was in front of a cinema for a bodyboarding premiere. It's like the most random.
That's
gig.
really random.
Yeah, it's so random. And so like we're playing at the front. I was like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. just touching things and, you know, sort of like fading songs in and out. Had no idea, but one of our only local DJs was standing there and just looking over. I think he was liking it, and he approached us saying like, "Oh, I DJ too," and he was like the 5th best turntablist in Australia. So like, it was insane with like scratching and like doing all that sort of stuff. And so he just like sort of took us under his wing a bit and wanted to teach us up. And I was a little like hooligan kid back then, and I was making like fake IDs. So like he was playing at the local pub. He's like, "You got your ID?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'll make some." And then he invited us to come and play at the local pub, sort of thing. So, but that's when it just lifted off, because we were the only people in the area that had played, and we started playing at every single, you know, like little house party. Like it was like 16th, 17th, 18th, whatever.
Yeah, right.
So like we were invited to do that.
What area was this?
This is Jervis Bay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, down the coast.
So you playing like electronic music, or was it just sort of like a variety of just like everything?
Definitely electronic. Like it was a mix between house, electro house, techno, Moonbaton even at the time was in.
What's that genre? What is that like?
Moonbaton's like it's BPM is about like 112. Just like
really slow.
It's just like a slow house sort of thing.
Yeah,
but like it had like some drive to it and some other songs as well. So, but yeah, because it definitely a massive mix of tunes, and it was just whatever goes. I played music my whole life, but like getting into the electronic scene, I didn't know much about, because like I was more into, you know, playing piano and playing like jazz and that sort of stuff. So, and like, of course, like growing up listening to like, you know, So Fresh albums and all that sort of stuff.
Even I remember those, and like yeah. So like, yeah, you said you had influence in music before that. Was that through school? Like you played jazz and stuff, or your dad was it?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
So
my
like
dad
your
got me
influenced
into
you?
And my brother and I into piano, because him being a one-man band, like he played on the synthesizer, and you know, like he would sing and like play all the 80s rock songs to 90s to like now sort of thing. Yeah, got us into playing piano. We had to practice like 1 or 2 hours a day. Started getting up our grades, you know, and just that was our thing. Like that was my music journey, just like piano every single day I had to play. And I love it. I miss it. I wish I didn't leave it, to be honest. But
do you reckon you know, like, still know how to play?
Yeah, I still like I can still like read music and like still play. The only song I got in the back of my head is Mission Impossible theme song.
That's a good song to have. It's like a party trick.
Yeah, that's it. But yeah, I regret getting out of it, because I suggested to my teacher that I wanted to learn these different songs, and she was like, "No, you have to you know, you have to, if you want to get into it, like you want to, you know, learn this and learn that sort of thing, learn the theory and the practical, which I was all about, but I wanted to learn, you know, like other stuff too, like K-San and some cold chisel and like, you know, stuff like that.
Yeah,
but,
right.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, and then you sort of progress into like getting the turntables. What like prompted you and your brother to get those decks? Was it just sort of like random, or
he was? We're both little raver kids, I suppose. I was even, to be honest, like when I was 16, I ran my first little, if you want to say it, park party rave, without even decks around and all that sort of stuff. I just invited like the whole crew. So like we were like little raver kids that we just wanted to like, you know, get into this sort of stuff if it like came to hand, and he just found a good deal for like a good set of decks, and yeah, I was hooked. I just remember like Mum used to hate it because, you know, dinner would be ready and I'll be downstairs practicing and I'll be like, nah, Mum, like I'm making a mixtape.
couple more hours.
Yeah.
He's cooking.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like, yeah, and then those raves that you ran were like just through a speaker or something?
Yeah, someone just come up with they would just reverse the car in and blast music through the car, and you just got kids scattered everywhere. But like the first one I did was for like one of my birthdays. I think it was like my 15th or 16th.
Oh wow,
something like that. And oh my god, it was just so funny. It's down at like the local beach where there's like a big park, and cops came down. But you know, like back then we're just like fucking run, you know. But like you got this park, but to run away from the cops parking at the car park, you would have to like, you know, run out of the park, and then there's this cliff that goes down to the beach sort of thing. It's like a sand cliff sort of thing, so you'd have to watch yourself when you get to the cliff. And I just remember getting down there first, and I was just like sort of hiding. I just remember looking up to the cliff. I was like, I bet you people are not going to know that cliff's there. And you just see people trying to run away, not notice the cliff, and you know, just start like running in the air, start tumbling down.
Is it sand though? It's like nothing.
It's
just
sand.
Okay, good. Yeah, exactly.
It wouldn't hurt you.
Yeah, I know what you mean by those sort of cliffs, but like, luckily you.
Yeah, it's just funny to watch. I knew it was going to happen, so I was like, I'm not running anymore. I'm watching this.
Yeah, and like, what the cops sort of just like, what was like their intention? Just sort of shut it down, or
it was so close to residentials. Like, it was super close. Like residential was like across the road, sort of thing. Yeah.
How loud was it though? Was it loud enough to like get their attention?
100%. Yeah, 100%.
That's funny. Like, yeah, you never really see anyone like 15, 16 like getting into like raves. It's usually like, at least my experience. So like, was there anything that sort of prompted you to like get into it at that 15, 16 age? Like, what was sort of like your early like what were you listening to back then?
Yeah, still listening to like electronic music.
Yeah,
just hanging out with a fun crew. I was a skater kid by heart as well, and we just had a really super fun crew where we'd skate all day, and you know, like then go out and meet up with people by night, sort of thing, have some fun, roam the streets, just being little hooligans, you know, like or like would like go to like the local schools at night and like just skate them, and you know, just like being around like good fun people. And,
yeah, sounds fun. Sounds like a good childhood.
Yeah,
like, it was like very active. Like a lot of people nowadays, at least, like, yeah. I feel like when I was 15, 16, I was very much like in the home, not really like a neighborhood thing. But was it like did you have like a sort of like a small community down there when you were living in? Is it Jarvis Bay, right?
Definitely. Yeah, everyone knew everyone. Sort of thing. Yeah,
I feel like it's easier that way for like everyone just knows everyone.
Yeah, exactly. Like it was good fun. Obviously, like just like any other town, like there would be towns against towns and like little rough bits sort of thing. But you know, like when you everyone gets used to it, sort of thing. And
yeah, that sounds like a cool childhood. Like a lot of memories, I'm assuming.
Yeah, it was fun. Yeah, fuck yeah.
And then I guess what sort of happened after like you started DJing gigs, and obviously you said, what was his name, that the turntablist?
Oh, his name was Craig Ryan, and he went by DJ Clockwork.
DJ Clockwork.
And yeah, he's absolute legend. Like I couldn't thank him enough to, you know, like take me under his wing. And he also brought me to the scene here a little bit, like where like he was playing at home nightclub, and he's just like, he wanted to drink, and I was just like, I'll drive, I don't care. 3-hour drive there, 3-hour drive back, sort of thing. Like I just wanted to, you know, start checking it all out, be a part of it. But yeah, got into like the Wollongong scene pretty quickly, and then from there started drifting into like the Sydney scene. So I decided to move here and see where it would take me, sort of thing.
What year was that? Did you move to Sydney?
What year was that? What year was that? That was probably 2013. Yeah, so a year before I started.
And then you started AllFriends a year later.
Yeah,
oh,
had
wow.
a full year of like being amongst it with the local crews and getting to play with them and working with them and whatnot, learning from them. And so yeah, when everything happened, that's why I was just like, I think I know enough to like at least start myself. And
yeah, because you were like within that little group that was sort of like
yeah. I was like, with a couple of crews, and like those couple of crews are just
didn't like each other.
Yeah, something happened. I still don't know what, but
yeah, it's better not to know.
Yeah, exactly.
If they don't like each other, they don't like each other. So like you sort of so you at 16 you said you started playing gigs like you're down in Jarvis Bay, and then you started playing a lot more like in Wollongong, and then you went to Sydney.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And then what was sort of after that? How's like your DJing career like progressed since you've like come to Sydney? And obviously you started AllFriends, so you've been playing at those events. But like, how did you sort of see your career progress like after you came to Sydney?
It went well. Like I was just trying to be around the right people and not saying no to anything. Like I used to play even like gigs throughout the week on like a Monday, Tuesday night. Like I just didn't care. Like I just wanted to play and like build up my skills. Even if it was music I didn't like I would still go out and sort of like play it sort of thing, because it got to the point where I stepped out of my job just to go full music, and like there is struggles with it, because like I was thinking like I've got to do something here. So like those like 3-4 hour gigs throughout the week were good, because like I just play like a bit of like commercial stuff, hip hop stuff, whatever, just to get me through the week sort of thing. And then weekend gigs were obviously the ones that I had the most fun at, and just bounce between venues, like lots of them. Got to play and run at most of the venues in Sydney at the time, and yeah, it was just, there was no limit,
Yeah.
Like there was some times where I was taking AllFriends to venues that shouldn't have this music, but I just didn't care. Like I was like,
what sort of venues were those?
Hugo's Lounge.
No, I don't remember.
It's called Flamingo at the moment.
No, I haven't seen it.
That's
in Sydney?
That's in King's Cross, yeah.
Oh no, I've never been
Okay,
there.
that's
I'm guessing it wasn't like a techno event or like a...
Yeah, no, there wouldn't ever be one there. Sidebar, we ran events there as well. Brought in like, all things house on a Sunday, then all things techno on the Sunday event there, but there's no way in the world they'll ever have those events there. But honestly, that's just, a couple out of many that I just didn't mind. I just wanted to, just be a part of it. And
just pushing the limits.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you sort of, that help AllFriends grow? Because you sort of introduced the music to like a new crowd that wouldn't be like into it at all. So did you sort of see that grow AllFriends? And
yeah.
like obviously your other brand as well, Raw.
Definitely. Like it definitely had its time where we could use whatever from the previous party just to showcase of like who we are, what we are, and also, just try and grow from that. And it helped like building momentum. Like I was just someone that I just didn't want to stop, and like I just wanted to always, bring this joy to everyone and like give opportunity to fellow DJs and whatnot. And yeah, it got to the point where I was just like, fuck, I've been playing for a while now. Like I feel like I've had my fun, where I'd like to give that opportunity to others and like have that feeling that I've had before.
Yeah.
And yeah, it made me feel good. So like I wanted to do it more. Yeah.
Do you remember your first like big headline act that you booked in for either AllFriends or Raw?
Like international act?
Yeah, like or even like if it was an Australian act, like just your first big headliner.
Oh man, you know what? It's kind of hard to say like who's been the biggest.
Or like who was your first? Like, do you remember the first one?
Yeah. No, I don't. No, I don't. We definitely had like big local acts, big acts in the country as well. That's just gone too far back, I think. Yeah.
Too far back.
Yeah.
Did you sort of, as you said, you sort of started off with like local lineups. Did you have the ambition? Like obviously you had the ambition, but like how soon were you like booking like big headline acts for your like events?
Oh, it took a while, to be honest. Like we're just having too much fun with local crews. Yeah. I think that's what people were getting around as well. Like they seen us and they seen like the crew mentality, and like we could do it ourselves, We did. I had a big headliner once when I was running Yeah Boy. So I started Yeah Boy as well.
Oh,
in
really?
2016. Yeah.
Oh.
Sold it off to the guys that are running it now.
Yeah. Okay.
And I remember we booked a big headliner and it cost us like 4 or 5 grand, whatever it was. And I was just like watching it. I was just thinking like, man, it's like I could do this like eyes closed, you know, like, and like so many other people that are here could do this like just as good.
Mm-hmm.
And like I remember the set was like good, but could have been better. And you could just see like the guy just wanted to have fun, and like we just gave him heaps of drinks, and he was passing along to everyone. It was a good vibe, you know. Like,
Yeah.
But I was just thinking like, man, I just paid 4 or 5 grand for that. Like I just feel like it's good to give up other opportunities to others, but that's where like it just stayed local.
Yeah.
For a while.
Because like the headliner brings in the people. But
Yeah.
like at the end of it, it's probably more talented artists that just don't have that name yet.
Yeah.
That sort of, is that sort
There's
of
so
like,
much talent. Like Sydney's crazy at the moment. Like there's talent everywhere, and like I want to give everyone opportunity, but it's just so hard because like also you want to structure events where like there is a bit of a journey, and you know you don't want to start too heavy, you don't want to finish too slow, sort of thing. So
because everyone's got their own little sound. So you
Yeah,
don't, like
yeah.
put someone like super hard at the start, even though like they're just coming up.
yeah,
But like they haven't earned that like slot where it's like in the main or like supporting the headliner.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's definitely a mix at the moment.
How have you sort of talking about that talent? Like, what have you been seeing recently that sort of like caught your eye, or like something that you've been eyeing out for like the last like 6-7 months?
Oh, young crews coming in, I love it.
Like young DJs.
There is like a mad new generation that are pushing themselves as acts and event coordinators. Like I've just been seeing so much more of it since like even pushing like maybe a year back as well. And yeah, I suppose I got to that stage for me where I'm just like, oh, this is the next generation, you know, like they're absolutely acing it. Creative ideas like no tomorrow. And it's good to watch. Like,
Yeah.
I love it. Like I'm starting to like slowly communicate with them now and like bring them in with what I'm doing, and it's good because like there's so much more to offer than just like what you're doing, you know. So yeah.
And you welcome that. Like you don't see it as competition or anything.
No, I love it. No way. I've never seen anything as competition. I see it
Yeah.
as more interest, to be honest. Yeah.
So yeah, that's a good way to put it, because I feel like, yeah, as you said, going back again to like that, those people that sort of didn't like each other, I think it's good to welcome it, because like at the end of the day we have to grow the scene, and I think the way to grow it is to sort of be friends with everyone and
Yeah.
not beef with everyone and kick everyone out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So like, yeah, and then in terms of like the next, like what sort of ideas have you seen that sort of like sparked your interest?
Something like this. This chat.
Oh wow,
Like
okay.
this. Absolutely. Everyone needs to share a story.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I think this is awesome.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I rate it for sure.
I respect that. I appreciate that. That's I
Yeah.
didn't expect that answer. I thought you were going to say something like some sort of new collective that's like bringing a new way of raving, but I appreciate that.
100%. Yeah, for sure. Like,
Anything else that you sort of like see out there at the moment that sort of like you look at and you're like, yeah, that's the future, or like that's going to push everything to the
yeah,
next
there's
level?
definitely stuff out there where people are thinking outside of the box. Yeah, I love how like like not everyone, but like there's a few cool crews out there that are just running their own like dwarfs festivals, their own stages, and like I see it a lot because they come to me for equipment,
Yeah, right.
and at first they just don't know what to do, like how to set it all up, and like I'll give them a mad run through, and when it's done, like I always just say like send me some photos and videos, and I'm just thinking like these guys like gone out to like 2 hours away, 3 hours away or whatever, and they're just running their own little solo stage festival, dwarf or whatever you want to call it, and it's amazing. Like I think that we need more of that for sure, but in this like city's climate, like it's just hard, but I really like give it to the people that can do it
Yeah.
and risk it. Yeah.
Yeah, because I was going to ask, how have you sort of seen Sydney change since you started AllFriends? Since it's been like about 10 years. I feel like it's a good timeline to see the change. What have you seen?
Changed heaps, yeah. Like trends, definitely. Sounds. It's so funny seeing different sounds be in and then out, and then a new one come in and then out, sort of thing. So like, yeah, it's insane. Like seeing people like dedicate themselves to one sound or multiple. Like me myself, I find myself as a like music I like music, like this is what I'm doing it for. I like all everything that pleases me, like that's what I like. So yeah, definitely trends sounds. Old crews sort of like gave up because like it was just too many challenges. So yeah, just like the flush of new crews coming in as well, which has been nice. Definitely a lot of new people. Yeah, for
I'd
sure.
imagine, yeah.
Yeah,
Been
but
a long
sadly,
time.
a lot of people that have left as well. Like I've got a lot of good mates that have moved overseas or down to Melbourne because they're
Like to continue it, or just sort of like they just quit the whole scene in general.
Oh no, just keep going in music. Like
Yeah.
they need a place that supports it, and our current climate in this city is just getting worse and worse.
Why do you think that? Like, obviously you're saying it's getting worse and worse. Like you're saying it's on a decline at the moment.
It's not anything to do with the people involved in it.
Yeah, of course.
It's
Yes.
like it's like the authority and people with power. There's lots more targeting by the police, lots more targeting by security guards, like kind of making people uncomfortable. Yeah, so like we've had our run-ins with a few things recently that's like kind of with questioning, just being like, what's going on? But like more and more of this is happening where we're just like, fuck,
Like to other people, that you know and stuff.
Yeah,
Or
yeah,
just to
yeah.
you?
Like I've heard of other brands that have been targeted with such situations, and names been brought up, and now like the police are even going to some of our workplaces and saying, don't work with these crews because they're having fun, basically. Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
wow.
So there's been a lot of like bullshitting like that, and we're in the middle of it right now. Like it's just like that's where like I want to start a union sort of thing, and if we can all like join together and like actually show the council, the government, the police of like how uncultural they are, and like we are very cultural and we shouldn't be stereotypically judged where like if you listen to techno then it's just rowdy and like violence and all this stuff. So yeah, that's where we're just like, no, we kind of have to like show them that it's not, and educate them instead of them educating us,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I feel like it is. Yeah, that's actually a good point. That like they're not educated enough to sort of understand. Is that stereotypical like techno rave is like very violent, very like aggressive, like dangerous even. Whereas like I feel like if you talk to most people, they'll be like the more dangerous clubs are like your typical R&B clubs. Like I feel more insecure and more like uncomfortable in those clubs than I do at like a rave, like just because I just feel like everyone's like it's just like it's a different vibe. And I feel like
there's nothing violent about it, eh? Like nothing. Yeah.
Never. I feel like I've never actually seen like proper violence. Maybe there's always a hothead here and there, but like the frequency of them isn't as high at raves, and they are at like your typical like Darling Harbour Club.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I've put up a few posts recently, and like the response of how many people are saying like it's just so ironic that like like the nights that we throw and other people throw related to us, how safe it is, and how there's nothing ever going to happen. Like everyone knows each other, everyone respects each other. There's no trouble. There's no like, even if someone like like has a little bit too much to drink, like we look after them.
Yeah.
Like, we look after our people. Like that's how it is, and that's how it's always going to be. So it's crazy because like the more that we're going to be driven away from our workspaces and like whatever, the more that people are going to be doing their own things wherever it is, in like a bush or rave or in their house, warehouse space, whatever, and like we're just getting driven away from it. So it kind of sucks for the workplaces, but also it's kind of cooler for us because we like doing that.
It's more creative. It feels more like authentic. Yeah. Doing those events, like you sort of like you're sort of pushed, because I feel like you'll never stop. You'll just find ways to sort of do it differently.
I've been thinking exactly that. Like it's just there's no way you can just stop something. It's just like, okay, what's the other option?
Yeah.
What's the other option? I don't mind traveling an hour. I'll get there. Like yeah.
And I feel like as well, if like obviously like as you said, safety and stuff. I feel like the more they drive you away, the more unsafe people. Like the more options will be available that are like more unsafe. If that makes sense.
That's probably what they're thinking.
Yeah.
I think, but yeah, again, like people help each other. Everything's safe. But like in a like if they're probably thinking like if you have this rave spot and there's like a piece of pipe hanging out that's sharp, like there is like issues there sort of thing. But it's like this is what we have. This is what we have.
That's what I mean as well.
Yeah.
It's like so that will like push you to sort of go to those venues, those warehouses where they have like those like pipes that are like sticking out. Whereas like if they normalized it, you could have had at a club that's like fully like safe and like all that sort of stuff. So it's like
like it's just there's a lot of action being driven out from those sort of spaces. So I personally prefer it now because like I think that more outsiders from our normal like club crew are coming to our events now, and it's just the coolest little kids. Like everyone's just a fucking vibe, and like you just wouldn't see them in a normal nightclub space. So I like accommodating to that.
It's BYO as well. You're like warehouse raves, aren't they? There's BYO and stuff.
Yeah,
because like no one likes standing in line.
Fair enough.
I've never actually been to like I've never actually been to one of those like warehouse underground like secret location raves.
I'll give you an invite to it.
I definitely need to go to one because I've been talking to a bunch of people and like I'm just sort of like I feel like I'm just over like the typical club setting. Like it's fun and stuff, but I'm sort of like there needs to be something else. Like it's fun and stuff going out like every now and again, but
come and check it out. Like I'll definitely give you an invite to the next one. And it'll be cool to like introduce people that haven't done it before, just to be like this is also what's happening, and you'll get to see for yourself like how just lively and respectful it is, and there's just so much more, even like calmness. Like you don't have to have a security with a flashlight in your face and all that sort of stuff. Like everyone's very calm and I don't doubt that the vibes will be crazy at like those sort of events. Like I'm very aware that like it's very fun, but I just never still get into it.
I've never had the opportunity to actually attend them. That's the only thing. So like and when's that next one going to be? Are you sort of working on it at the
18th
moment?
of August.
Oh, okay, soon. Okay, nice. Okay, and that's at the Marrickville one.
Yes.
Who do you have in that one? That's playing in that one.
Haven't announced it yet, but it is Mac Deckless.
Okay.
Mac Deckless writes tunes for like Mama Told Ya and a couple of other big record labels. I'm really digging this like 4x4 techno/trance sort of sound at the moment. So like we got the opportunity to have him, and I was just like, I'll do it. Like I get to play after him as well. So like it'll be fun.
Yeah, awesome. And like going back to something that you mentioned that's sort of been in my head, like you said you wanted to create like a union for like, what exactly do you mean by like creating a union?
Just basically a collective of industry heads and people who ever have like any sort of like specific knowledge or connections, where we can just be like, this is what our culture is actually about, and bring petitions or whatever to local councils and basically just show them that like it's not what you think it is, and please like lay off our back, because like we're just trying to have a fun run here. Like you can't go up to venues and say don't work with these crews, because that's just like, that's not right at all. No,
that's actually very
I feel sorry for like myself and like some other crews as well that are getting their names spit out there. So
so like you're saying like police go to like venues and stuff and basically say don't work with this collective and this collective.
They have been recently.
Oh wow. That's
but your union would be like those crews that can like individuals that just want to be a part of it, and just like show that maybe we can bring up more in the city, that we can be an example of what this city is about, and like what the people involved in the music industry are about. And it's just very initial moments at the moment.
That's a sick initiative. Like, and it's funny how you say that, because I saw like a Facebook post the other day. I was like top 25 party cities in the world, and Sydney was 17.
Oh yeah,
which makes no sense. Like Ibiza was like 1, which is fair enough. But like then I saw Sydney at 17, and I'm like, there's no mention of like Melbourne, which in my opinion,
who's judging that?
I have no idea. It must be sort of politics in there, because there's no way Sydney is one of the best party cities in the world. Like,
it used to be the most spoke about place in the world.
Yeah, it used to be. Well, like, I don't know, that photo was from I think it was a recent poll. So interesting. I don't. And it's funny that you're saying that now. We're having this conversation. It just came to my head. I was like, from this conversation, 17 seems way too high. Like I wouldn't even put a top 50 at this point.
Man, there is good parties here. Like it just depends. It could be right in a sense, because there is good parties, there is good crews. Like, every time I go out and like, you know, support other people as well, it's just like, yeah, this city is awesome. Like we are killing it. Like we are thriving. We are going so well. Like everyone's giving it their all. And
there's that barrier that we just need to.
Yeah, it's just like the other end that we have to like challenge ourselves with. If we didn't have those challenges, I could just imagine like what and where we'll be at. You know.
Yeah, maybe it depends what parties they sort of. What their definition of party is. Yeah. Because like, yeah, as you said, there's it's opportunity here, and like as you said, there's so much happening. Yeah. It's just a matter of getting past that barrier of.
Yeah. And like like when the lockout laws came into place, like when the guy got hit, that was years ago, man. Like yeah, it's a tragedy, but that was years ago, and there's no sense of violence at like these sort of events. If you just need to go to look elsewhere, you know, like just because techno and hard music is hard doesn't mean we're gonna start knocking people out, you know. Exactly. Opposite, we start hugging each other, you know?
Literally, yeah. I'm pretty sure I've hugged more people at a rave than I have at like a normal club.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, that's like, yeah, that's a really good conversation. I think that's like, I've never really looked at it that way, and I think from my perspective, I've sort of seen like, oh, Sydney's sort of like, you know, getting there, we're going back up, but your perspective is like it's the opposite. Like, yeah, we're sort of like still in the shitter a bit at the moment, and there's still a lot of work to be done. Yeah. Do you think it's sort of like...
But there's still some cool fucking parties, man.
Yeah. There is. Obviously, COVID sort of like ruined, like sort of set everything back a lot.
Yeah. I think that because of only for the sake of the younger generation getting, like, turning 18 or 19 or 20 through COVID and not getting to experience, like, options, you know, going out and not really, like, having... maybe the knowledge of like where to go, what to do, sort of thing. So they grew up in their legal ages where they had to be locked inside, or you know, like you got to cover your mouth, or you got to, you know, stay 1.5 meters away from people, etc., etc. So I think that definitely did a bit of damage.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, but the same like if you look at the other side of it, it's like so many people came out of lockdown. And like we have all these artists now. Yeah. Like there's so many artists that came out of lockdown and just like bought decks during lockdown or started making music during lockdown, and now we've got like this wave that's still coming up as well of like just talent. People just coming out of Sydney. It's like crazy. Like, I don't know, Sydney, like Australia.
There's so many people that are into it.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah. It's sick to see because like, yeah, I think COVID was a bit of a blessing and a curse. Yeah. Like it definitely stopped like, you know, events happening. But I think in terms of like getting people to get into the music, it sort of maybe helped. Yeah. But I guess that's everyone has their own like opinion on that.
Yeah, no, like subjective. You're definitely right. Like even probably push people to I know it did to me, like to write music more, and like I had the time to do it. And that's been something that I've always wanted to do, always to be a part of. Like I have written tunes before, but I just haven't had the time to like be consistent at it. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of people that are getting into like writing tunes now.
Yeah,
you know, like,
like
rather
production.
than just like being the DJing side of things, like finding more and more people fucking writing tunes and writing them good as well.
Because I feel like that's that you have. I feel like you need that aspect of like if you want to like have a career out of it, you need to start writing making your own music. Yeah, because like being in the booth is cool, but like I feel like you need to produce, but that's like the hardest part of it. Like producing is like it looks very simple, and you hear all these songs like, oh, that's so cool, but like there's so much work that goes into those songs, and like,
exactly
3 minutes is actually like months of work, if not more.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I feel like anyone that makes music would definitely be able to understand that. But
yeah,
have you been like making music now, or
no.
Well, you've got a lot on your plate.
Yeah, exactly. I can't wait to maybe like set up a little studio space kind of like this in the warehouse, and I've told myself that's when I'm going to get stuck into it, to have a space to do it and sort of like you know, get rid of all my thoughts and just concentrate on music, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Through COVID was good because I did have time to do it, and I was writing a couple of tracks, a few more, and just having fun, just jamming as well. And yeah, I just don't have time, man. Like I am very concentrated on what I want to do and what I want to do for this city as well.
Yeah.
And I think that needs a lot of attention, but there's parts of me that it's kind of like sad in a way where I've lost my music side a bit. So yeah, there's definitely going to be a time where I'm just like, I just want to, you know, write tunes and jam with music again, not for the sake of like even releasing there or whatever, just like for my own.
Yeah, for your own like.
Yeah, my own, like, was this what I've grown up to be? Like, I miss like jamming. I miss like creating stuff, you know. So
The fun part.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, because you've got a lot on your plate with like AllFriends and stuff like that. So
100%.
yeah, I'd imagine Raw, and obviously that's still young and it's going crazy. Like, what's next for those two?
AllFriends would be 12th of August, and then Raw being 18th of August, and then 25th of August. So there's a lot happening. Yeah.
What's next for like the future? Like,
yeah, true.
What do you see?
I want to step it up even more. We're starting to get offers for some the largest scale acts in the world for techno.
Shit.
So that's where we're just like, all right, we're gonna need a bigger venue.
Yeah,
You know,
okay.
there. That's what happened to Charlie Sparks. Like, I was like, I need a bigger venue. Like,
Yeah, Abercrombie fit that.
there was
Yeah.
Abercrombie was the only one available, but it works well. It worked amazing for us though. Like, I love Abercrombie. Yeah, just going bigger and better.
Bigger and better, yeah.
Yeah, that's with Raw, and then AllFriends. We are looking to start going a little bit more interstate. So we got connections in Gold Coast to do some Sunday events there, as well as Byron. Got a warehouse in Melbourne that we're going to do, and yeah, like just building more of a team, hopefully,
sick.
and start giving people responsibility where, you know, like they can control the local show here when I can go up to Gold Coast or somewhere to control that. And yeah, just to continue things. You know, there's a bit of a gap between like psytrance events in the cities at the moment as well that we've seen. So like, we'd like to bring that there.
Sick.
Yeah.
That sounds awesome. Like, yeah, I'm excited to see what happens next, especially for Raw.
Yeah.
Because there's some heavy hitters coming out. So
Yeah.
I'm excited to see who that's going to be.
Cheers, man.
But yeah, I think we've had a really good conversation. A lot to talk about. A lot of important pressing issues that I think are very important to bring up, like the lockout and everything that's been going on. And I think, you know, I appreciate your insight into that because I feel like you've experienced it firsthand. So
Thanks, man.
It's been good. It's been good getting that insight and getting a different perspective onto that.
Awesome.
But yeah, obviously, guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for Justin for coming on. As you guys heard, a lot of great things that we discussed. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed it. Make sure you follow Raw and AllFriends on Instagram. Follow Justin as well because, as he said, there's a lot of great things coming up. All of the links will be in the description. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share the show around. It helps a lot. But besides that, I'll see you guys in the next episode. Take care.
Peace.